Welcome to Crypto.XL, your go-to spot for all things crypto. Here we dive into market trends, altcoin gems, and blockchain innovations, helping you stay ahead in the ever-evolving world of crypto. But remember, I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing here is financial advice. Always do your own research before investing. Want exclusive insights? Join the Patreon where I share buy and sell picks, market updates, and behind-the-scenes content. Hit that like, subscribe, and bell icon so you never miss an update. Let's ride the crypto wave together.
Crypto.XL. Hey guys, I'm back. Like Batman. That's where I'm coming from, the Bat Cave. So, M2 money supply. Bitcoin's currently at 93,486. We did have a scare because it came down and it tested the moving average at it tested 50-week moving average at approximately 75K. It wicked all the way down here at 74,259. Um, Probably a very good DCA point, actually. We did say it was possible for it to happen, and sure enough, it actually did happen. It surprised me. I thought it might happen, but still, I was reluctant to actually accept it, but it was a possibility, and since it is a possibility, we have to prepare for it. There has to be a plan that if something can happen, that there is a plan for that. So DCAing right here, um, considering that we're still in a bull market, right? Because if we were to break this and then stay down here for weeks, then that would have led on to the likelihood that we would no longer be in a bull market. But since we're still in a bull market, this is a phenomenal DCA point. And so what does it matter? It already happened. It's in the past. No, it matters because in the future, we know how to handle situations like this in the future. Prepare for what possibly could happen and also keep a decent percentage of the portfolio in cash. So if you do have a catastrophic event or a wick down, like, a catastrophic event would be the COVID thing, right? Of 2020, March 2020, when you had phenomenal buying opportunities, BNB at $5, etc. If you do get one of those opportunities, you'd be able to take advantage and DCA in. Now, I was mentioning doing a low leverage long on Fartcoin and a bunch of other coins, but Fartcoin was one of the main ones that I saw that was gaining momentum. And if you were able to get in on that, you would be doing quite well right now. I mentioned Fartcoin. I think it was around 40 or something cents, somewhere around here. A low leverage long on that, I mean, that would be crazy. Um, Now, should we head back up to $2.75, that will be more insane. Fartcoin came all the way down to 19 cents, by the way. So from 19 cents up to a dollar, $2 something. Well, I will just say that would be epic. That would definitely be epic. If you look at Fartcoin on the M2 money supply, you will see that it's predicting that we might actually go back up to all-time highs. We might even wick beyond that. So, congratulations to anyone who was able to get in on that trade or to get in on the lows, even at 50 cents, even on these wicks here. I think that would be, a good opportunity. Of course, the higher we go up, is the riskier the trade gets, right? So if we start breaking $2 and such, I probably wouldn't recommend Fartcoin at that point because the risk would be too high. Risk versus reward would be too high. So of course, the best opportunity would have been back here at 19 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents, etc. Um, if we do get a pullback on Bitcoin, which we probably will, right? Because Bitcoin's currently at 94K, roughly around there. It's 93,250 now. If we do get a pullback from 94K, um, then that probably will be the higher low and the opportunity that you have to get in if you have not gotten in or if you have not firmly gotten your positions. By the way, nothing I say here on this channel is financial advice. It's just my opinion on the markets. Nothing I say here is financial advice. So, Bitcoin following the M2 money supply, it does not follow it exactly, or I think the correct way to say that is it deviates and pushes forward or backwards every few weeks. So it does follow it. It's just that it's off by a couple weeks. It shifts itself every now and then, and it's kind of funny that it does that. It's almost like the market makers or the powers that be don't want you to follow it exactly, so they shift it over somehow. Um, so it doesn't exactly mirror the M2 money supply, but it rhymes, right? It's a similar pattern, okay? And if you're looking at the M2 money supply, what I've currently done is I've lined it up with M2. And I don't know why this gray box is here. It's just freaking annoying. Can we get, all right, thank you. All right. So it mirrors the M2 money supply. And you can currently see that the highs of Bitcoin this cycle was approximately 108,000, 109,000. And this was when the M2 money supply was at this spot. Now, this is an M2 money supply with a 90-day lag, right? Let me, there is a lag on this. So if you look, it's currently printed out to July of 2025, which tells me that we actually have quite a way to go with the price of Bitcoin. Because if Bitcoin is mirroring the M2 money supply and the M2 money supply is pumping and it's pumped beyond the point where Bitcoin had a high of 108, if this pattern continues and continues to pump, it looks like the pump is going through July of 2025. And the rest of the M2 chart has not printed yet. So this could continue. I just want to see when this line stops like accelerating to the upside. Because right now it looks like it's about to go down. It's skyrocketing, right? And if Bitcoin continues to mirror this pattern, it means that we might have a pump from now, right? We're in April, end of April. It's April, May, June, July. For the next few months, we might be pumping. Okay. That all being said, make sure that you take profit along the way because it's not going to be straight up. It's not going to be a straight up pattern. There are going to be some pullbacks. That all being said, if you did not get your crypto positions, you might want to get some, right? Now, another thing to consider is that we are having a change to quantitative tightening, and that's going to be happening in June, a slowdown of quantitative tightening. which is really good, which is excellent for the markets. So the markets can go bonkers. But the second thing to consider, and the two wrenches in this whole plan that could get us off track, number one is the rate cuts. If the Feds decide to do a major rate cut, and the rate cut is more than we expect, that means that the market will have a serious pullback. Um, but there's usually a slight lag before that, right? So I still think we have time. So what possibly might happen is that we do get a rate cut, a 50 basis points rate cut. Um, the next Fed meeting is in May, but what I'm thinking here is that as far as like serious rate cuts, I think something in the economy will have to break before that happens. And there's a lot going on with Trump and his tariffs. So it might have something to do with that. So I'll just keep my eye open for that. So two things: this whole tariff thing with Trump could be an issue, and also the rate cuts. So I mentioned the two possibilities or the two issues that might hinder or slow down or get this bull run off track for a little bit. And that is the uncertainty with the tariffs and the situation with China, and the fact that the administration might want to slow down the markets or break something to force the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates. So the first thing is the uncertainty with the economy and the strength of the U.S. markets, and the second thing is how the Fed reacts to that, or more specifically, them lowering interest rates at a fast pace, quicker than the market expects. Now, what do I think is going to happen? Well, I'm just going to follow the M2 money supply. And the M2 money supply is skyrocketing, right? I've lined this up with Bitcoin, and it's showing a very high future price for Bitcoin, possibly hitting around 120K, which was actually a fib level that we've noticed a very long time ago on this channel. Now, this M2 money supply is projected out to July 2025. So it doesn't mean that on that date M2 doesn't exist anymore. It just means that this is all the record we have for now. So as the months continue and progress, we will see a projection of what Bitcoin is going to do, because this is a reflection. It's not exact, but it's similar, right? Because Bitcoin is following the M2. So it deviates as much as a month. It might be off as much as a month, and it doesn't follow it exactly, but it's a similar pattern. It's kind of like a hazy shadow, not a direct outline, but a hazy shadow, and it's showing that we probably will be pumping this summer. One thing I will say about this current cycle that we're in is that it's very unique, right? Because in this cycle, we pumped before the halving, we broke all time highs before the halving. And in Q1 of the post halving year, we did not see an altcoin season, right? So these two things are very, very different. So I will continue to, keep my eye on this and make plans. And again, congratulations to anyone who got in on the Farcoin low leverage long early on. Now, anything can happen in these markets. We could have if when the Fed lowers rates, we can have a devastating crash, but that crash doesn't. It's not the same day. It's not like they announce they're lowering and the same day the markets crash that same day. It might be a delay as much as a month or a couple months, 2, 3 months, right? Um, so so I can't go off that and be like, oh, the meeting's coming up, let me get out of the market. I can't do that. But should I hear like, oh, they've lowered rates more so than we thought, 50 basis points, 75 basis points, the market shot, I will be, put on alert then, and maybe, I will take my pump and I'll start to de-risk, right? Because what usually follows is a devastating drop, and during that drop, maybe at that point I'll also buy back in. But this is where we are right now. We're on schedule. There's nothing really to worry about. I'm still DCAing. I still do believe in my my small caps, my high risk coins. I do nibble at them, because they're 90% down. One of my strategies is to get into low leverage longs. If you look at Goldfish Maximus, it's currently at 6 cents. This thing was $1.37, right? So if you get into a low leverage long one or something like this, and it survives, and we go back to $1.37, it's incredible gains, right? And then you could take some of those gains along the way and put it into these micro caps. Elderoon, this thing did a 40x in a very short amount of time. So, I mean, there are many strategies here. All I will say is continue to pay attention to the market and don't get discouraged. Do not get discouraged, because if you do, you're going to miss all of this. This is going to happen at some point. We expected Q1, and maybe it's pushed to Q2. However, if you look at Bitcoin dominance, it's extremely high. If you look at the total 10, it's extremely low. So, and we're still in a bull market, and we're about to go through a slowing down of quantitative tightening. So it's a perfect storm. All you have to do is survive. That's all you have to do is survive. And if you survive, you can thrive. I'm looking at so this is the top 10. It's the top 10. I mean, this is the total crypto market cap excluding the top 10, excuse me. So these are the micro caps, the ones that I'm interested in, right, on this channel. We love micro caps here. Love is an emotional word, so maybe I should change that word. I will say we're interested in making gains from micro caps. That's what we do here. And so we have a huge way to go to catch up here, right? So this is micro cap. This is the crypto total market cap, excluding the top 10, the dominance of the market, right? So you see that we're all the way down here at 7.9%. And we used to be at 13. This is the weekly. So, I mean, look how far we have to go. If you're patient enough and you're willing to wait, you just have to get into some coins that are not going to fail, right? Just get into some that are not going to fail and chill. Take it easy. DCA into your favorite coins. That's it. Nothing I say here is financial advice. It's just my opinion on the markets. But I still think we're on to have a phenomenal altcoin season. I don't think altcoin season is not going to come. It'll never come. It'll never do this. And the only way to have an altcoin season is to make sure no one believes in it. It didn't happen this time in Q1 because everyone knew that it was going to happen in Q1. Because everyone knew that it was going to happen in Q1, it didn't happen. Everyone knew that Bitcoin was going to make an all-time high after the halving, right? So Bitcoin made an all-time high before the halving. Everyone knows now. Everyone, when I say everyone, I mean market participants, people who are in the market. I don't mean new retail that come at the height when Bitcoin's at 200K. That's not what I mean. I mean, a lot of the retail here are educated and they know the 4-year cycle. So that's one of the reasons why the 4-year cycle is not going to be exactly like how it was before. All right. But I've said enough for now. Shout out to the Patreons. Do check out the membership where I give my buy alerts on coins that I'm interested in. I have been DCing into some of my micro caps, and I think the strategy of low leverage longs on some of these big blue chip coins and then taking some of the profits into and putting them into these micro caps that could end up going multiples. I'm not even going to see how many X's here. That this could be a good strategy. I just saw also, on another note, Trump coin pumped like 50% today. Myro pumped like 60%. Sui was up like 20 something percent. What I'm trying to say to you is if you sleep and you give up, there's going to be no way for you to do really well in this market. You have to be willing to DCA and buy in slowly when no one wants to. That's all I'm going to say there. All right. And also, when we get euphoria and Bitcoin's at 120K, you have to be willing to sell, right? At least some of your back. Not financial advice, just my opinion on the market. I will catch you at the top. This has been Crypto.XL. Peace out and have a good one.
Welcome to Crypto.XL, your go-to spot for all things crypto. Here we dive into market trends, altcoin gems, and blockchain innovations, helping you stay ahead in the ever-evolving world of crypto. But remember, I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing here is financial advice. Always do your own research before investing. Want exclusive insights? Join the Patreon where I share buy and sell picks, market updates, and behind-the-scenes content. Hit that like, subscribe, and bell icon so you never miss an update. Let's ride the crypto wave together.